Welcome to the 3G Fitness Podcast,
where 3 generations of trainers come together to discuss all things fitness related.
Join us as we share insights, tips, and stories from our diverse experiences as we unravel the secrets of staying fit.
Welcome everybody to the 3Gs, the 3 generations of fitness. I'm Coach Michael.
I'm Coach Kyle.
Subbing in, Coach Victor.
All right, hey, today we have a guest today, Allison Stewart. So why don't you just introduce yourself, Allison, and tell us a little about yourself.
So I have a background in, I started out with a background in theater, and after that I wanted to get into movement a little bit more, and so I started out with cardio, and upon doing that I kind of figured out how I could move and control my calories and kind of change my body, and that got me into the fitness space and ultimately into bodybuilding.
Okay.
And how long were you a bodybuilder for?
I was a bodybuilder from about 2014, 15 to like 2018. So maybe about 4 or 5 years.
How was it? Did you different preps?
So we did keto, which I have a lot of thoughts on that now after experiencing keto, but I don't know if that was the best or most effective way to prep me, but that was what we ended up doing. So I had kind of a rough experience coming off of keto, as many people do. The preps were challenging, and I think that's kind of why I ended up stepping away, was because at certain points I felt like I was putting a lot into it and not getting a lot out, and that took a lot of the joy from it for me.
How did you get introduced to bodybuilding? Did you always know, like, when you first you said you wanted to move more, and is that like an automatic, like, ooh, I want to be a bodybuilder, or how'd that happen?
Well, first with I started off doing Zumba, and it was just like cardio. Okay. So it was something fun, something like community based. I think I craved that community in the fitness arena. And so after doing cardio and seeing how it changed my body, I was like, whoa, I kind of want to look like her. Like, I want to do what she's doing. And I kind of asked a few coaches at the gym, and they're like, honey, you got to lift weights. You can't do cardio.
Right. That's how a lot of, a lot of people start, I mean, that's how I started.
With cardio?
Well, with magazines.
With Zumba?
No, with magazines. I'd open up a magazine and I'd say, ooh, I want to look like this. And we didn't have, back then we didn't have, Instagram and all that, So I look up a magazine, I said, well, I want to look like that.
I had TV. I was looking at wrestlers, and I was like, damn, I want to look like those dudes.
Honestly, I think that's what it was WWE. For me too. Yeah, exactly. Like the Dave Bautista from back in the day.
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
Tanks.
Yeah. But that's how I started, like you, that's how I started, and wanted to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But why'd you switch?
I'll never be the person that says that bodybuilding gave me an eating disorder, but I say that bodybuilding, that's a hot topic. I will say that bodybuilding gave my eating disorder a playground. That's what I'll say, because I think it's super common now for ex-bodybuilders to be like, bodybuilding messed me up and blah, 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 blah. And don't get me wrong, like, I left for a reason, but I don't want to bash the sport, because I think people can do it healthily. I just have never witnessed it myself.
I think that's like the rare anomaly, right? Where like you're able to do bodybuilding in a good space where you have like a good relationship with food, because there's so many factors that goes into bodybuilding, that it's hard.
It's 24/7. It really is.
The amount of discipline there, you got to be like kind of borderline psychotic.
I like kind of disagree with you guys. I think bodybuilding, and I don't say this in a bad way. But I'm going to be honest. Okay, I think bodybuilding is unhealthy to a certain point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I think that
Absolutely.
Wait, we're all on the same page. I was ready to
the controversy.
Yeah, for real.
But they look healthy. That's the thing I'm saying, But in reality, it's not
being
really
in
healthy,
super low body fat levels.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. Because when it gets close to comp time, everything starts getting cut out.
So depleted and
right, and a lot of nutrients and stuff. So I do think there is a health factor in bodybuilding, and I think, and I'm not speaking for you, Allison, but I think a lot of bodybuilders. I couldn't do it because I couldn't stand the dieting. Mm-hmm. It was too hard. Mm-hmm. And when you're getting down to that low percentage of body fat, you know, it's tough because your other competitors, they're doing it along with other things, you know, and
along with other things too. Yeah, the PEDs. Yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's like when you think about it, like we have body fat for a reason, right? To protect your
It's for your
organs,
hormones,
exactly, hormones.
Hormone
There's
regulation.
Like the body fat isn't a bad thing. It's just it's all aesthetically how you actually want to portray it, you know. But like going from that to powerlifting now, how is it?
So much better. It's been so healing. It's been so healing. For a while, I wanted to do powerlifting with my bodybuilding coach. And I had told him, I said, hey, like, what do you think about me doing like a powerlifting meet? And he was like, powerlifters are fat. And that was his statement. And I said, okay, well, what if you pick my weight class? And he said, no, that's not my vision for you. I was like, okay.
And was this like strictly a bodybuilding coach?
He had coached powerlifters before, and that's what
okay.
He's like, yeah, I coached someone to a bench record, blah blah blah. And so I was like, all right, maybe he hung that up, that's fine. That was maybe like 2018 when I wanted to make that switch, and then life happened. I kind of fell away from the gym. I lost a lot of love for it, and in 2020 all the gyms shut down, and the only gym that was open was an outdoor powerlifting gym. And so that's kind of how I fell into it, and it gave me a great place to channel that energy and focus on getting stronger. And and what was crazy was the more that I pushed getting stronger, I got the physique that I wanted, and when I didn't focus on like what I looked like all the time. So it was a really important shift for me.
Now, did you have a different coach then when you started doing powerlifting, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And how was that switch?
Oh, it's been great. He's had a really hard time kind of course correcting from the bodybuilding, because there's still a little bit of
for sure
like lasting effects that it's had. So we've talked a lot about moving up a weight class was really hard in the beginning.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm 130. I've always been 130. This is my weight. This is like you attach your identity to that weight.
Yeah. And you were trying to get to
the next weight class up is what, 147, 148 is the next one.
Yeah, because after that it's like 130.
Yeah, because then you're like thinking about like a 10 to 15 pound shift.
Yeah, I'm like, and the girls are stronger, and
to put on that much muscle, it's hard to put on that much fast muscle
Yeah.
quick. You know, it's like it's not physically possible. So it's like it's a big jump.
I think it's an easy trend for a bodybuilder to transition over to powerlifting, to where it's harder for a powerlifter to transition over to a bodybuilder. I know for a fact, because when you're a bodybuilder, you have a low fat content. So when you go into powerlifting, you have more muscle, pure muscle, which you don't have as much, fat covering your muscles, which gives your muscles breathing. So when you're working out, so having more pure muscle, you get stronger quicker. Okay. That I can tell you.
So you're calling bodybuilders strong?
No,
Thanks.
powerlifting.
Well, hey,
I'm
he's
gonna
just
tell you
saying,
right
he's just
now.
saying, look, he's like, you at 150 at like 10% body fat is not the same as a guy who is 150 but at 30% body fat. You have just
For sure.
pure muscle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're gonna be stronger even though you're the exact same weight.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But the discipline aspect too of like, being so rigid with your meals and everything, like that discipline transfers over.
That's the thing with
to
powerlifting. It's not like that. You're gonna eat a lot better. Okay.
She said it's better for her mental, right?
so much better. I do not track though. That was my stipulation with my coach. I said I don't want to look at food as a number anymore. I want to eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm full, be a little bit more intuitive. I
was just about to ask because I was like, so like one of the big factors of like switching over from like a bodybuilder to a powerlifter, right? Diet. So like now you're not tracking anything very like holistic or more like just.
I try to focus on getting enough protein and getting enough fiber, and those are my goals. Making sure I'm eating enough and just protein and fiber.
Those are like two real good like pillars that like I like to tell people about. Just because like even like fiber just to get your digestive going, just to even make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to, and then just protein. I mean,
Biggest thing is protein for sure.
I laughed because I was watching the episode the other day and like. Literally, like they've like talked about protein on this podcast a million times, but it's for a reason.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It is a foundational pillar for sure. So how long did it take you to adjust to kind of building that better relationship with food?
I would say probably like a year and a half into powerlifting. So it did take
That's
a while.
long time, yeah. What was that like?
So I kept cutting down into that same weight class that I was like married to. And it was, at first it was pretty easy. We'd cut out like sugar and alcohol and I'd make weight and it was fine. Like a month out, no sugar, no alcohol. And it was cool. And then we'd start doing the same and I was putting on muscle. And so it would get harder and harder to get back to that weight class. And so what had happened was I qualified for nationals. The weight that you qualify at, you have to compete at.
Yep.
And I had so far surpassed my weight class at that point, not weight wise, but just like muscle wise. I kind of sat maybe 6 pounds over. So it got harder and harder. We did our cut. We did carb cycling. That was the most I've ever tracked in powerlifting. And I hated it. And so we ended up doing a water cut and my body couldn't adapt to it. And I ended up bombing out of the meet. And so that was like my wake up call where I was like, I'm done with this weight class. This is not my weight class anymore. Let's build me up.
Was this the first meet?
No, this was maybe like 7 or 8. So I've gotten a few like under my belt to know what a good meet feels like. It didn't ruin it for me.
I see. Okay.
But
Gotcha.
it was really, really hard on me. So after that, we moved up a weight class and my weights all went up. My dots got better. So I don't know. Do they know dots?
Yeah, the 3 dots.
Yeah. I know.
Well, for the viewers that don't know what the 3 dots mean, you want to explain what
the
dots are?
Score. The dots score is how much weight you lift,
like your overall
compared to your body weight.
The competition.
So that's how they track your weight and everything because when you compete in the nationals, you have to do at least 2 competitions to have enough points to qualify.
For me, it was a qualifying total, so it was a number that I had to hit.
So you got, it's usually like 2 or 3, and you have to stay at that weight class. That's the thing. And if you don't, then you just got to start all over again in a different weight class. And that was one of the problems I had with one of my lifters, is that she was at a weight class and all of a sudden she goes to this one comp, she's 1 pound over. Now this doesn't even count. It doesn't count for her to qualify for. So see, it's a lot of training and studying you have to do, and you have to look to see who's up there, where you're ranked
on open powerlifting, doing research.
Yes, all the websites.
Open in the open division, you have to see where you're ranked, and it sometimes it gets depressing, because you see, wow, man, this nationals, woo, and so you're kind of like going just to go.
Yeah, there's like 30 people in your weight class. It's very stacked.
And now when you're competing,
this is like, for me, this is like back in the day, right? So like when I was like a trainer for the first couple of years, I was messing around with both, like doing like the power bodybuilding. So I had a big thing that I was shooting to get like into the 1,000-pound club.
1,000-pound club.
Nice.
Which still never hit, but because I think,
you got time.
I don't know. My joints are like, this is hard. So like my all-time dead was like at a 405. But again, and they're not calibrated weights. It's just whatever I was doing in the gym, right? My squat got to like 305, and then like my bench was always like at 250. So like I was close, but never actually hit that 1,000-pound club. What are your numbers sitting at right now?
I think my best squat, and it's like weird numbers because it's in kilos. 286 squat, 155 bench, and a 308 deadlift.
See? And then like,
you do sumo? You do conventional?
I do sumo.
You do sumo?
I do sumo.
Of course,
Long femur gang. You have to.
People say it's cheating. They do say that. They say, sumo's cheating. But it's not.
Then do it.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
it.
It's still a heavy ass weight at the end of the day, for sure.
It takes a technique that's much more difficult than conventional. And I mean, I don't do sumo. I tried it, but it's a lot of balancing and stuff. And I think certain areas of your body, like the sumo, you use more of your quads, your hip flexors, and stuff. So if you're a bodybuilder, okay, I think that transition is easier, okay, to go into sumo. Because my lifter, she was doing conventional, and I was like looking at her, and I'm like, "Nah, you're gonna have to go to sumo." And so, I taught her how to do sumo, and she hit 309. just hit 315, and she's only been competitive. No, not even her first competition yet. You know, and she's already hitting 315 at a 144 weight class. So I see the potential as being a lot higher. You know, and she asked me, you know, you sumo? I go, no, I don't sumo. I tried, but it's not.
See, like for me, I got little legs, so like for me, I can do either one and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But that's why like all the guys that I work out with, right? They always like are clowning me whenever we're benching because they're like, bro, you have like little 2 feet arms. Like your range of motion on a bench isn't as far as like a guy who
Someone
has like
longer limbs.
Exactly,
Yeah, for sure.
exactly.
Bench specialist build.
There you go.
Well, it's funny because then like even like in that like when I was looking and to be competitive in like a weight class that even if I still wanted to, it's still like 1,000-pound club to be competitive, and even then that would mean I would have to shave down like over 20 pounds.
But why is it always to cut down instead of build up?
Yeah,
Is my curiosity.
Well, see, and then for me, I think it's because of like my size and frame, where I feel happy because I can be lean at like $140, $150, and I can just drop down a little bit and be competitive and optimize, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Right? Versus like if I'm going to be 160, 170 and fighting with all the guys that are like 6 foot lean and pure muscle, like, you know, just fundamentally wise, they're going to have more muscle mass than me at that frame. So it's just, again, and it's to each their own, right? Where you think you optimize. Like if I jump into competition now at like $170, I am going to be nowhere competitive. Even with all 3 lifts, probably one guy could beat me with one, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I love powerlifting. You know, I love it. I do. You know, I went on and got certified as a powerlifter and everything with USPA. You know, because I just fell in love with it. But what to me? And I'm going to ask you this: what is your most difficult lift?
For me, it's a deadlift.
Is it?
I have added the same amount to my deadlift that I have to my bench, bench is so much more challenging to add on to. So I feel like that speaks to how much my deadlift lags compared to my other lifts. Yeah. I think my first competition I had hit like 240, 250 on my third, and now I've only added like 50 pounds. Comparatively feels like nothing.
Oh, I know. Well,
I mean, you're at your threshold now. So like, it's like when you start talking about someone with like, you know, just naturally trying to lose weight, right? The natural way is like lose a pound a week, real slow and steady. So you keep
just
your
chipping
muscle
away.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're in the reverse. You're like slowly adding weight, and it's gonna be that real. It's progression. It's just gonna be real slow, and not like at the point where like, it's like I always tell everyone, like when you're watching The Biggest Loser. And they're like shaving down 20, 30 pounds that first week.
Yeah, but they gain it all back.
Well, some of them do, but at the end of the day, like those first initial weight, it's just like back to the digestive system. It's just adding water, just eating healthy, just getting their metabolism going. So like the first initial weight loss is there, and then it tapers off because naturally it's going to taper off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised. I am. I didn't think you'd say deadlift. I was sure you would have said bench.
I have a state bench record.
I know that, but my point is that when you're a bodybuilder, you don't bench a lot.
No.
As females, they don't.
No.
So making
I don't bench.
Making that transition over
like
to
my favorite
powerlifting.
Lies.
And the way you have to, you know, shoulders arch.
So technical.
Behind
so
on the push with the legs. It's like you know. Seems to catch on a little bit harder because I've had everybody I've trained has been the bench. We don't bench.
Bench was challenging for a while, but I had to make bench my bestie to make peace with it for sure.
Well, you know, I'm guessing that you know just how long did it take you? Did you catch it in a minute, or did you have to work on it?
I found that bench was very body weight reliant. And when I would cut, I'd lose my bench. And when I gained weight, my bench would go up. And obviously like things like programming and frequency and things like that matter too. And I think I do have kind of short arms, which is why my deadlift is not as good and why my bench can kind of do well.
T-Rex gang.
Short arms.
Yeah, little T-Rex.
It's actually the bench was always easy for me. But as a guy, I benched a lot when
Growing
even
up.
as a bodybuilder, I benched a lot
That's like the staple. Yeah. How much do you
Right.
bench?
You know.
That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the big question.
and stuff. So,
guys.
I mean, I got the state record for deadlift on Masters.
Absolutely.
You
That's
know.
awesome.
And hopefully I will make it to the Nationals and the Masters, and because my best is 500 on the deadlift in my weight class, in my age bracket,
awesome.
and stuff. So I'm kind of waiting to hit 70,
Yeah, for the next match.
it's easier.
Yeah.
These guys in my weight class now, they're doing a little over 500 right now,
Oh, yeah.
and I can't even. I just did 450 about a month ago, so I got a long ways to go. So I'm thinking maybe I'll wait until 70. That was a couple more years.
Take all of them, sweep them.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So are you going 25? National?
25.
2025.
So I bombed out 2023. I came back this year and I did well in 2024. I told my coach I did what I set out to do. I don't feel like I have any unfinished business at nationals. We are switching federations because we've been liking like the WRPF PLU scene.
Yeah, they're up and coming.
I know that's a big conversation right now in like the powerlifting.
USPA's been. I'm not talking bad about
Very
you guys.
established.
No, I'm not talking about yeah, but they've had a lot of marks against them in the last probably in the last 6 months. A lot of
Why is that?
I
I do
generally don't
remember
know.
that.
yeah.
That was a big-
I
that was
think
a
I
big
think
deal
it,
when it
I
happened.
think a lot of it was kind of like hearsay. I think a lot of it came from other organizations that were trying to pull them down so they could come up. Because USPA's got a long history.
They have a very long history. And I think
You know.
no federation's perfect. USAPL has their issues with Powerlifting America, and I think every federation has had their issues now.
You ever go USPAL?
I did. I wasn't a fan.
Really? Oh, well.
I don't like a 2 hour
I think
weigh-in.
I think the equipment is a problem because they don't have their own equipment.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get it from the gym. Has to supply the equipment. So
Which you never know what you're going to get.
So it's not
yeah,
standardized.
Yeah.
and then the deadlift bar is not a deadlift bar; it's an actual straight bar. So
Miserable.
the difference is the flexibility on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
this is
it's
where like
tough.
I'm not as well versed.
Me
because,
neither. I'm
like
just learning
like
about
we talk
this right
about
now.
like different like bodybuilding leagues, right? Like a natural tested league versus a non-tested. Like I can talk about this, but like even like the different bars that they use, and like even like when we're talking about like calibrated weights, like your 45-pound plate at the gym. Realistically, probably isn't really 45 pounds until you actually go to a meet. Then they actually,
yeah, exactly.
Well,
100%.
I think, as well, I can speak for you as well as myself. I think we're just used to Ks, K weights. That's what we're used to.
Absolutely. Once you start switching over
Yeah.
to kilos, it's so
Yeah.
you speak the language. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So
Me, I'd be busting out my calculator. Wait, what's the
2.2?
2.2? Yeah, exactly.
But see, I think that's like the bodybuilding versus powerlifter, right? Like you're talking about bench with a guy, right? 225. That's a
Yeah.
staple. 2 plates.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like for us, the weight doesn't matter as much, So, talking about that, since there is like a big difference in the amount of weight that you handle now, has your training style kind of changed in terms of like recovery? Like, how do you maintain injury prevention?
Totally. That's my coach will love that you said that. That is his big staple. Recovery is one of the biggest aspects of everything that I do. I prioritize sleep like 9-10 hours if I can, like
Nice.
in bed
Hell yeah.
sleep. I think that's where a lot of people lack. I think that's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that's the steroid people are sleeping on. It's just not
it's
Yeah,
very,
no, absolutely.
It's very
and
important.
it's just that's the easiest thing to get rid out of your schedule. If like you have a busy schedule, it's like I can kind of like
sacrifice
stay
sleep.
Exactly. Yeah.
because you can't sacrifice your other commitments
But
or
it's
grocery
so much
shopping.
on
or-
recovery. Yeah, exactly.
So sleep and eating were huge, and my coach is actually very appreciative of my bodybuilding background because when we do more volume, more hypertrophy based stuff, more mind muscle connection to be able to like build into the lifts, he says that really has helped me for powerlifting. So it's my training style has
Being in tune with your
changed.
body, basically.
Absolutely. So it's changed for those like top singles doing triples. I'm not doing squats for like set of 10, maybe 8 if I'm being punished, but
Right.
never like 10.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna compare, right? So it's like, how do you like the switch from like a 3x3 or 5x5 to like a 4x10?
12 to 15,
Exactly.
I love it. I loved the switch. I'm not an endurance athlete. I did not like high rep ranges.
Same.
Not fun. So I like
You
doing
don't like the
few. No, I love a 2 rep and a disproportionate break. That's my favorite.
I'm more of a like 3 to 5 range. I'm like that's where I feel comfortable. I
That's
feel
the sweet
strong.
spot.
Exactly. Then like especially like sometimes like I'll work out with like one of my bodybuilding buddies, and we'll do like 15-20 rep on a bench or whatever it is, and it's
burnout.
like yeah. But then after that like 12 threshold, I'm like gassed, just absolutely nothing left in the tank.
Yeah. See, for me, 5 is the lowest I'll go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the lowest.
Oh,
But like most of the time, probably 8.
Okay. Dang.
See, like, 'cause, like at this point, I'm still like I play around with like my PR here and there, like a very subjective. I'm like, oh, 245 felt good today. I was like, let me push
Let's
another
go up.
5.
Yeah.
I'll do a single of that for the day and end it there. Like, it's a different mindset when you start thinking about like strength chasing versus like physique chasing.
For sure. Absolutely. Now, beside sleep and diet, do you do any like stretching, mobility work, like deep tissue?
Definitely
any of that?
stretching. I have a body work guy. Luckily, like mobility's never really been like
An
a
issue for
nagging
you.
area for me. Yeah, so I'm lucky in that way. I know a few other of my teammates. They have like a 45-minute warm up routine for their squat. They got to get the ankle, the hip. There's like these boxes they have to check. Yeah. But
No,
you
he
should.
just, he
but
just
you
jumps
should
in it. What do
be.
you mean? You should, exactly.
People do the we call it boy warm up when it's just plate jumps. It's bar, plate, second
Yeah.
plate, and it's just that's
Yeah.
Boy
that's
math.
not the warm up.
That's boy math.
Well, I think that's like also I think that's what you have an advantage of the bodybuilding backside is that like you've already strengthened all the muscle groups around a lot of your major lifts, like your adductors, you know, your glute, all the different glutes that you have, like all the muscles that you already worked and trained. Those all come in support of now.
As
That's
a
why-
stabilizer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why when I try to
Little
get him to
muscles.
do like accessory work, he's like, "Ew, Bulgarian. Ugh. You want me to do single leg stuff?
I
Ugh."
have to take a call.
Exactly.
Well, when you're squatting and when you're deadlifting, your hip flexors, your adductors, they play such a major role.
Absolutely.
So hip thrust, RDLs, and
We do a lot of box squats too for hip.
yeah.
Do you
The box
Really?
squats have helped my hips a lot. I used to have hip issues in sumo, and box squats really helped a lot.
Yeah,
I've never heard
it plays
of a power lifter do box jumps.
it plays
Oh, box squats.
Box squats, got it. My bad. I was confused. I was like, ooh. I did some the other day and I was like, this sucks.
I have seen that for explosiveness. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
explosiveness matters, but too much of a liability.
So, where are you going from here?
From here, I mean, just that's what I felt like I liked more about powerlifting is like the work's never done. You never feel
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm complete. And I guess with bodybuilding, it can feel the same, but it's
Yeah.
a little bit less measurable.
Are you gonna go IPA or with the international powerlifting IPL to international powerlifting? So in other words, to go more world out,
Oh, world.
and where the competition obviously is extraordinarily tougher,
Insane, yeah.
but when you've gone to the nationals and done the nationals, you want to take that next step to IPL, just to really see where you are, and you have any thoughts on that? Have you ever thought about that?
I would consider it. We've had a few teammates go to Worlds, and it's like the strongest people I know, and they're still not cracking top 3.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's the guy I know. He has like an 800-pound deadlift, and he did not crack top 3.
Yeah.
To my recollection. So,
I mean, that sounds
so I think
accurate.
if I went, it would be just going for the vibes, just to be there and just to be around greatness. Even the
Yeah.
one that I just did, I think the girl in my weight class, she was like, yeah, I'm going to attempt a 400-pound squat today. I was like, okay. But I compete
What's the
in.
last comp you were in?
The last one I did was in September.
Which was
What was it? It was in Upland, Mission Fitness.
oh,
It was a
okay,
PLU
I know
one.
where Mission Fit. Yeah. They got some pretty good comps up at the Upland. They're starting to was it USPA or
That one was PLU.
PA? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how many organizations do you belong to?
I have competed in, to my knowledge, at least locally, every powerlifting federation. I've done USPA, USAPL, WRPF, PLU, and RPS.
You got to be members of all of them. I mean,
Not all the same year. That's an
No, but
expensive
every year,
but-
because everything goes by year.
Yeah.
To renew, so you've gone through all those already.
we have, yeah.
Wow,
We'll do.
That's a lot,
So we learned a lot about what we liked and what we didn't like from different federations.
because judges are different, in every organization.
They
You know,
are.
They're all picky, but I think some are more than others. And stuff. So that's
And so what I know, they're supposed to err on the side of the lifter. So if there's any kind of like doubt because I think some of these judges, they don't see it and they don't err with the side of the lifter. Like, oh, I didn't see it, so it's a red.
Have you
Or-
ever been picked? Have you ever been picked for drug tests?
No. My numbers haven't been that good. They're very believable. They said that makes sense. So no, not yet. I haven't been lucky enough.
You haven't been picked yet? Oh man,
You haven't thought about making the next switch and going into like the whole clean and jerks and all those crazy lifts?
So my coach is part of a coaching duo, and we have another coach that does Olympic weightlifting. So we did kind of like an off-season day just to check it out. It wasn't as fun for me because it's so technical that you can't move that much weight. And for me, like moving weight is what feels cool.
I think that's the aspect that I like about it. So like the other
it
day,
techno?
I worked out with a buddy, and it was all we did was like cleans, and like really working on the form, getting the drive, and even like activation of like all the different points of the lift you have to hit and stuff like that. So I think it's just cool. I like it more now, maybe because I'm not lifting as heavy as I used to. So like now I'm like, I can get real technical with stuff and
A lot more intentional, definitely.
exactly moving with intent instead of just moving around heavy weight.
Okay, now let's go back a little bit now. Okay, there's a question I want to ask, Okay, when you were bodybuilding, okay, did PEDs play a role in any kind of decision you wanted to make on what you were doing? Or were you just a natural and just,
So our coaching team was natural, and that was like the thing that they really pushed. They said, it feels better to be natural and know that you're beating the guy on gear. And that feels really
Absolutely.
good. I do know that it plays such a large role, and that at some point, if you're not using them, you're not competitive, just objectively speaking.
Yeah.
that's
that
the
is,
question,
for
so did that have any kind of decision on you when you were competing, that since you were going natural, you were natural, and you start getting up to that competitive level, did that play a role in, I don't know, do I want to do this anymore? Or
Your
do I-
long-term decision.
Yeah,
well,
is this what I want to do? Did that have anything on the impact of your decision?
I don't think for me personally, I don't think it was ever an option for me in bodybuilding. It was never like, do I want to do that? I think I was also in bikini. So bikini, like, girls still
Yes.
definitely are taking stuff in bikini.
The other one. What's the other one? Wellness.
Wellness.
Yeah.
Wellness.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend that I
I
brought
always
in
get
here.
that one. I always
she's
get
yoked.
confused with that, because they just added that in along with the guys. They added that in because bikini, it's men and women.
Yeah.
It's tough because that waistline, plays a factor in bikini,
Definitely.
in men and women, that they want that little waistline to fit. So if you're doing bikini, then did that have anything?
No, I think even if I did want to take anything, I don't think my coach would have pushed it. So
Because I looked at your Instagram and I saw you.
That's actually good.
I appreciated it.
I know some they push it.
Yeah, no, he was good about
It's,
it.
On your-
also subjective too, because like PD is such a loose term, right? Where like at the end of the day, like you can go into like the actual protocol of everything. There's supplements that are also banned and considered PEDs, right? Like it's not just thinking like straight shooting up drugs or anything, or just steroids.
No, there's levels.
And
yeah.
there's also like supplements that are banned and considered PEDs. Like you can get them at your NutriShop, and you would never know unless you actually look. And so PED is just like a form of like helping, right? But there's like, it's not just straight steroids, there's stuff in between. There's like peptides that aren't technically steroids. So like there's a lot of like middle ground. So we're not just specifically talking about steroids, just PEDs in general.
Well, so we did have, it was like a pig thyroid something, and you do it under your tongue, and it was like cutting agents that he told us we were natural, and I believed that.
Yeah.
And I probably should have questioned it a lot more at the time. I was very young. But yeah, there's, like you said, there's all these little kind of gray areas.
I mean, because like for me, like one of my favorite supplements when I was really chasing strength was BioGrow. It's over the counter. It's like you can get it on Amazon. It's just a simple. I forget what it's like, a certain peptide or something, but that is considered a banned substance. So like I wouldn't qualify for natural, even though it's a over the counter.
Well,
Did you see
peptide is
significant
not
growth from that?
it's not a roid.
Maybe not significant,
It's
but enough
not,
for me to be
you
like,
know.
okay, I noticed
It
the
works.
strength. Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, they put peptide in my collagen, so it can't be a roid, you know. But I did check because a lifter asked me, she goes, "Is peptide is that an enhancer?" I go, you know, I stumbled for a second saying, I don't think it is, you know, but I can't say I don't think it is. I had to go back and had to research, and it's actually not.
Yeah.
There's like a whole list of like things that are like considered not natural anymore or natural. It's a very thin border. That's why I like the guys that actually compete in both like power and in like physique, like natural, where they're like testing, they do full like tested multiple times, different blood work and urine and stuff like that. Like they have their natural card and they're claiming it, and
Yeah, absolutely.
applaud to them, you know.
So are you going for, besides national records, you're gonna try to go beyond that? You know, world record. after
World
that.
records. Oh my goodness.
They have them now. You know, I mean, you lift. You know, there's a state, there's a national, and then there's that world record. You know, that's, you know, what you're chasing.
I would love for that to be the goal. Right now, I feel like, because I just turned 30, so I have 5 years until submaster. That's when the records are really gonna start kicking. You know, once you hit like the masters and those ranges. But I do feel like, and it's also a question to you, I feel like there's a sweet spot. And I competed with a woman who was like 70 years old, and she was telling me about this, where she said, this year I came back and my numbers were just like 5% lighter. And so like she hit that sweet spot, and now it's like maintaining is a win to her.
Yes.
And not losing strength, or losing minimal strength.
This is what I tell people, because I'm just turned 68, and they look at me like, you know, are you crazy? And I go, no, you get older, you lose your strength. Unfortunately, you do. Okay, and I tell you know, I'm a prime example. I know this for a fact. You know, when I was 20, 30 years old, I was benching, you know, 405. I was squatting, you know, 450. You know, you know, now I struggle at over 400 on the deadlift, and I struggle with, you know, 2 plates on the bench. You know, because what happens is you start losing your cartilage as you're lifting, and that plays a role because it starts hurting and stuff. So as you get older, you know, constant weight pressuring you, your cartilage shrinks. So the pain starts happening, and then you start, you know, oh my God, you know, what's happening? So you lose your strength. Okay, that's why we have classes. That's why we have
Keeps it
open,
fair,
submaster, and masters, you know,
Yeah.
because everybody in the masters is close to that weight, you know, and you lose your strength, you know, as you get older.
Yeah.
So it does happen. All right. So, but
I'm not ready.
but you know, you get adjusted to it.
Yeah.
You know, you
It
start
happens slowly.
you start being more realistic in your life. You know, I can't lift like I used to, and you just kind of accept where you're at. But you can't build yourself, you know, because once you start getting bigger, it's up to you if you want to keep it.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
Use it
what
or
I
lose
tell
it.
people. You know, if you don't, you'll lose it, and you lose it quick. And stuff. So the best advice I tell people, I say, hey, just keep lifting. You're gonna grow. You're not gonna grow as fast. You're gonna slow down, but you try to maintain and stuff. And when I work out, I just try to maintain. That's all I could do, you know.
Yeah, and that's the
so-
win.
Yeah, I was going to
And-
ask you, how do you stay motivated in those training periods where progress seems slow?
I think knowing I've had a lot of breakthrough moments after having those periods of stagnation, and I think that is what pushes me. And usually it's like we'll introduce a different variation. Right now, since my deadlift is kind of my lagging one, we did Zerchers for carryover to strengthen my back.
Dang.
A little bit more of like figuring out, you know, getting the shoulders up and out of there.
Gotcha.
And so we're just kind of like tinkering. So I think having new movements, having, you know, different things to focus on helps me stay motivated. And I don't even know if I'd chalk it up to motivation. It's just routine
Straight
and
discipline.
And even discipline. Like, I don't think I'm like doing something hard by showing up, because I genuinely enjoy it. For me, the hard stuff would be like doing cardio, doing conditioning, and that that stuff's harder to. Sled pushes. I hate sled pushes, but I'll do sled pushes.
So it's
'cause I
really
know
just a
that.
passion for you.
Just a passion, yeah. A lot of love for it.
Nice.
Okay, so if there's a viewer out there and considering either going into bodybuilding or going into powerlifting just for fun, which one are you leaning towards more?
That really does. I mean, it does depend person to
Right?
person. It depends. The answer is always it depends. But for me, like with Michelle, with your client, I was so excited to see her switch to powerlifting, because I feel like as a woman, it's so empowering to see yourself move weights, like weights you've never imagined, like
Be able to eat.
Be able to eat, yes. Be able to eat was so much. And I started bodybuilding so young. I was 19, 20 years old, still like forming my relationship with my body and food and things like that. I think I started too young, and I was very ill-informed. So I think if people are making decisions, make the most informed decision about bodybuilding. But I have a lot of love for powerlifting, so.
I mean, strong is beautiful, right? So like even like for anyone who's like picking up working out, like for me, like the big 3 lifts, always start with those and work around that. Like not even in like a powerlifting sense, just work on your big lifts and then, you know, work on your accessory work from there. That's usually where I end up like giving out recommendations on like if you're picking it up.
Just a foundation, and you can go kind of either way from there.
What about you, Keo? What do you say if there's a young man watching right now and teetering between either powerlifting or bodybuilding?
Oh, bodybuilding all the way, dude. Yeah. Get you swole, get you nice and cut, you know? But yeah, she said it depends.
Michelle,
It depends
you
on
know,
what they really want to do too.
You inspire, you know, you inspired, you empowered Michelle. Okay.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm using your name, Michelle, okay, in case you want to know.
Name drop.
She already told me I could.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I think.
That's Keep It Fit
but
Foodie
no.
on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. At
She-
Keep Fit Foodie.
She came to me and she goes, you know, I have this friend, you know, she's, wow, you know, I want to be a power lifter. And I'm like, okay. I go, are you sure? She goes, yeah, I'm sure. You know how she's at that, you know, yeah, I'm sure. And I go, okay, you know, so I've been training her for about now almost 2 months. But as I said, you know, earlier, you know, I told her, you know, this bodybuilding mentality, you got to get it out of your head. Okay, the workout is never close. Okay, the exercises might be similar, but how you do them are going to be different because you're trying to build power. Okay, you're not. Bodybuilding is a very graceful sport. Okay, it's very elegant. You know, your floor exercise and your routine has to be graceful. You know, and to do that when you're built, it's a hard thing to do. You know, and powerlifting, you just got to be strong. You use the right technique, you just have to be strong, and you just have to train to do that. And there's a glamour part of bodybuilding that everybody sees, you know, that, you know, as you said earlier, I want to be like that, you know, me too. I want to be like that. So that looks really good. Arnold, Lou Ferrigno, and all these guys, you know, I want to be like that. And powerlifting is not. They wear singlets.
And we do see people that bring the show to powerlifting. I've seen them. They have, you know, the all-colored coordinated fit with the custom belt. Like, we see some showiness. I like when people bring show
It's
to
starting,
it.
you know, yeah, you know, they're starting to, you know, get a little, you know, custom belts and pretty shoes and lifting shoes and stuff like that. But
way less of a pageant, for sure.
yeah,
it feels a lot more pageantry.
bodybuilding is a pageant. It's, you know, I mean, what women on their bikini spend about $900, I think, for a bikini set. You know,
And you might get knocked down if they don't like the color of it.
yeah, and then they have to, and then the shoes and stuff like that. You know,
Tanning,
it's
everything.
really, but the money's better.
Yeah.
The money,
For?
the winning money in bodybuilding
No.
Is it?
is
Absolutely
better.
not.
I don't know.
I mean, you got
it's
to get to
definitely
that.
not lucrative.
You
Maybe
got to
the
get to
sword?
that. You got to get to that level.
No.
What is it?
Like Mr. Olympia level? If you're talking about Mr. Olympia,
600.
yeah,
He
yeah,
won
but
six.
like for.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We're
Mr.
talking about when
Olympia
you start
level.
Yeah.
earning that money. You know, it's
Yeah,
But even then, they
that's
they
like the
barely
1%
started
of the
hitting that.
elite.
yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. They
Yeah.
It wasn't always like that. Each year, it slowly kind of increases, which is good.
Well, it's like for some of the meets that you've won, have you actually got like cash prizes out of it? No, right?
But it, comes down
Good
to
old pat on
sponsor.
the back.
Got a little,
Good
little
job,
flag, got a
bro.
little
Come
medal.
back next year.
It also comes down to sponsorship and stuff like that. You
yeah,
know,
for
getting
sure.
the right sponsors for you and stuff like that that will pay you too.
Are you like chasing sponsorships or like anything on like social media or anything?
Not particularly. I had partnerships with supplements before, but
Yeah.
it's like, there's requirements, and I would push something that I believe in, and I don't think a lot of, the skinny teas and stuff like that. I don't know. I want a product that I genuinely use and believe in, and something like that.
I noticed when you squat, because I was looking at your Instagram. I noticed when you squat, you use wraps.
I do.
That's old school.
It is, yeah.
Like knee wraps?
Yeah. I mean, because they go on so tight.
Not the sleeves, right? You use wraps.
No. Yeah, wraps
Oh, so
are
she's
wraps are a
still-
beast. Wraps
Yeah,
are a beast.
I was like, wow, man, she used wraps, and I was like,
What's the difference?
I was gonna say, what's the difference? Because I've only used sleeves.
wraps
I've
are
never used
much
either.
tighter.
Wraps are like canvas, and they're like,
Yeah.
you tie them really, really, really tight.
It actually cuts your blood circulation off for
Yeah,
a split
you can wear them
second.
for like one rep. That's it. And the timing is very interesting too on meet day, because you have a minute to get to the platform.
Yeah.
And you're still getting your knee
Oh,
wrapped
yeah,
because
and
you
they're
can only
long
do
as
it
hell too, right?
before. Yeah. So
you-
you're like
You're like walking like a robot.
the waddle. And yeah.
The waddle.
And you get your one.
Like
You
this, I had
get,
no idea about.
you get your one.
yeah,
You get
check it
your
out.
one lift, and then all of a sudden, you hit it. You're walking off, and you're snatching them off. Because they're.
They're supposed to feel stronger. I thought?
You get a lot more
It's like
rebound
wearing
out of
a
the
belt,
hole.
basically, but for your knees. It's like more support.
Yeah, I mean,
I never wore a belt for like lifting either. So like,
For real? No belt, no sleeves, or nothing? Just raw dogging? Good stuff.
Really?
Good
No,
stuff.
yeah.
I normally don't unless I start hitting like.
I'm gonna
anything
give you a little
past two
sh-
plates.
It's just stock.
I'll give it a little. Shout out.
exactly. That's it.
I'll give it a little shout out. Who's your bet? Who's your belt?
My belt is from Amazon.
Shout out to the
Shout out
My belt
Amazon.
is from Amazon. And
out,
the
Jeff.
brand had my same, the brand name was my initials. So it's AS for Allison Stewart, but it's the brand name. I didn't get it
Nice.
custom or nothing. It's $50 belt.
Hell yeah.
Oh wow! Everybody, because a lot
They
of
talk
people.
about it. It's a big topic. Like picking out your belt, the style of belt. Like
A lot of people use Enzer. They use SBD.
I know Pioneer's pretty big on the scene too. They make some cool belts.
I mean, that's what a lot of people use, and stuff. Amazon, really.
Amazon. And it's been
Over the
rocking with
counter.
me since 2020. Yeah.
that's awesome to hear. Actually,
Yeah, but I mean, it's a tool. It's not everything. I think a lot of people they get the powerlifting starter kit and they're like, I got the belt, I got the wrist straps,
Yeah.
I got everything, and they're like, okay, where's my total?
so now that we're back from little technical difficulties, talking about jumping back on stage. So like a high bar versus a low bar, right? Do you have a preference on either being a high bar or low bar?
I'm a big low bar fan just because I'm not very quad dominant. Quads are not my strong suit, so I felt that, and I have the mobility for low bar, which is nice because it can be kind of
Like
hard on the
pitch, yeah,
shoulder.
yeah. I know.
So-
Off air, I had to look up what like a low bar was because sitting more on like the scapula. Mike knows exactly how to explain
You develop a I'm not going to say, callus, but you develop a pad on that low bar, but it takes time, to get it
Yeah.
and stuff. But once you get it, it's like it's a natural thing.
Oh, it's like second nature. Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
supposed to be able to
it's
push more
nice.
weight with low bar, right?
It
Oh yeah,
shortens the
that's why.
range a little
That's
bit.
why I have not ever seen. I don't know if you have. I have never seen a powerlifter that went high bar at a high weight. I haven't.
I just saw this crazy guy squat
you?
like 600-700 pounds, and the bar was like
On his neck?
On his neck. It was the highest bar I had seen. It was
Wow.
very impressive.
I mean, and then
But
so-
it's less common. It is less common.
Yeah,
don't see it often.
every meet I've gone to, I've always see everybody I've seen people at a very low bar,
I mean, but then
really
the
down there,
bodybuilders,
you know.
right? So
Bodybuilders
like
are all high bar.
It's all
Well,
high bar.
well, exactly, because
Yeah.
then
And they're still pushing
realistically,
heavy weight.
Well, because it's on your traps, right? So like when you're, especially if anyone's like trying to squat, make sure it's like not on the actual little bone on the back of your neck, like the little T4. It has to be just slightly on that. Like you have muscles up here, and that's where the bar should sit for like a high bar. So like I think that's the one where like a lot of people get confused, or like after a squat day, they're like, my neck is real sore about it, and it's all about placement, about where you have it, and it also comes down to preference. Because like for me, like maybe next time I go into it, maybe I'll try a low bar, but like even like positioning wise, trying to like.
What I
figure
tell
that
like
out.
my new people, the easiest way that I say is just like, all right, when you want to put the bar on your back, just put it not too high to where it hurts your neck, and not too low to where it'll slip off easily. That's the most basic thing that I tell them. Just keep your shoulder blades back.
Oh my god! And then bench position on like how I bench is definitely nowhere close to where like how you guys.
Well, it's interesting. So women's benches is known for a wide grip, big arch.
Yes.
My arch is kind of moderate, but my grip is fairly close. I'm like not near the ring at all. So my bench grip's a little different.
So you got strong triceps.
I was just gonna say, like, your coach hasn't tried to like persuade you to go a little wider or anything.
We've tried, but I feel it too much in my rear delt. So I feel like I can really stack on top of my lat
it.
with a closer grip.
Yeah,
but once I
yeah.
start going out, I feel like my elbows will flare more.
A lot of people will fly it. You know, they'll fly, and you try
use the bench.
Yeah, you try to tell them, you know, you're using too much shoulder when you do that. You know, bring it in,
It's like
slide
the
to
smallest
side,
muscle, yeah.
and stuff. But you having short arms, I'm surprised you would take it in close, because
It helps.
you know they.
It's that 2-inch
Why?
bench. Yeah.
She might have a long sleeve on, but she got some triceps back there just hiding, you know?
Some footballs in there.
It's a sleeper build for sure.
You know, triceps are helpful, but you know how benching goes. It's everything.
It's full body movement.
It's
yeah.
everything. You know,
Core,
from
leg drive,
The
from
leg drive is
legs
huge.
your back.
to,
Yeah.
you know, and keeping your butt on that pad and,
The
and
biggest
kicking your
red
legs
light
up.
culprit, yeah.
You know, because I always tell, you know, my hand should go through, you know, when you're arched, I should be able to go whoop, right in and out and stuff.
See, okay, so I don't really. So is that like just shortening the range of motion, like the arch? Because like I don't like I've seen the arch, but I haven't really like I don't understand it.
It
Range
shortens
of
the range and
motion, it's
protects your
supposed
shoulder.
to, it protects your shoulders.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%.
It's like this is what I use. My concept is it's like a bridge. The two strongest points on a bridge are where? At the ends.
That makes sense.
All right, so your arch is up, and so you go through. So your 2 points are there, and I tell them that's where you got to make your strong point has to be here, and your shoulders. So you have to use everything on your shoulders, everything on your legs, and your hips, and keep your behind
tension.
on the pad. You know, it's technical, but it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The arch is literally just you having them put their shoulders back and down.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, but you see like some of these lifters, they have like the craziest
Extreme arches, yeah,
exactly.
So
It's supposed to make the bridge smaller.
Yeah, I mean, it's shorten the range however you can. But I know that in some federations, I know, is it IPL or IPF? I get the two confused, but there's an elbow depth rule now. So that your
I have
arch
seen
can't
that,
go that
yes.
crazy.
Yeah, because like there would be points where like their elbow wouldn't go
They're
anywhere.
like here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like so then to
Yeah,
combat
but
The
that,
whole
they-
rep is just like an inch.
but
Well,
you
and
know,
then that's the big joke about it, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like, does
Yeah,
that
yeah.
rep really count if it's
Right.
only going?
And it goes viral, and there's
yeah,
comment
yeah,
section
exactly.
as hell.
It's going
and-
crazy. Yeah.
But I think everybody that benches, a lot of people, that just regular people that bench, and they have this habit. I don't know why they think that if I go like this and bench like this, I'm gonna bench well, and I'm gonna get more, and they're not.
More like
Because
90-90.
They're just using
Like
all
flaring
they're
the
using
elbows
all
up.
shoulders when they're doing that. Now when you bring it in, now you're using your pecs, you're using your lats, you're using your shoulders.
I think it's just
everything.
the natural movement when
It
you
is.
first start out. I remember like when I first started in the gym, that was my same thing too. I was flaring it out. And for some reason, I did see a lot of bodybuilders flare their elbows out too. So sometimes I felt like there was a good mind to muscle connection there, but
Well, it's like
I
even-
understand science-wise, biomechanically wise, it's not the safest for the,
shoulder.
yeah.
Well, it's like going back to the bodybuilding side, right? Like your chest starts right in your sternum, like that's where it like originates and it goes into your shoulder. So like getting that elbow across gets the best chest activation. So if you really think about it, going here to here, you're losing all that activation. So like that's where I side with Kyle, where I'm like, a dumbbell chest press is probably a better activation than a barbell.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting with the big three and bodybuilding and like cost benefit, because I know a lot of bodybuilders won't deadlift because the risk to reward is way too much.
Literally, I don't really deadlift. I don't really barbell bench. I'll dumbbell
Yeah.
bench, and I'll do a lot of flies.
And that's like not uncommon.
I'll see
exactly.
I'll see him at the gym, and he'll be working out, and I'm looking at him. You know, he knows I want to say something. He knows I want to say, man, what are you doing, man? You lifting that lightweight, man? But I know he's a.
It's not important for me.
gotta
But
feel
he's
it.
not a
You gotta
powerlifter.
feel
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But he's a bodybuilder.
Different goals,
and I
different
know
different
that,
training
you know.
styles.
And, you know, I get it, you know. So, your coach,
My coach.
so important. Okay, he is the one that informs you on everything you're doing wrong and what you got to do right. And that's in bodybuilding and in powerlifting and stuff. So, your gym,
My gym.
powerlifting gym, so important. And there's a difference. There's a difference in bodybuilding gym and a powerlifting gym.
Where are you going with this?
There's a difference.
Where we
But
going? Where we going?
my point is,
Uh-huh.
you know, why don't you let everybody know, you know, where you're at,
There you go.
you know,
Who you work out
what
with.
gym,
Yeah.
what gym you're training out of, you know, because you guys are a club.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big difference, you know, from
Yeah.
just a regular gym.
This is a
and
platform
stuff.
for you
So
as well.
This
so.
is
Yeah.
this is
Thank
it for
you.
you. This is your platform.
my time.
This is your time to let everybody know out there.
30
you know,
seconds and
what
go.
you're doing.
All right. I'm coached by Tommy Stopp. He is my powerlifting coach. He is also an injury prevention specialist, so that has been very helpful. And we train out of Raw Performance. They really hook it up. We have like 9 combo racks, calibrated plates, everything that you need. So it's definitely a great setting and a great coach for me.
That's a powerlifting gym.
Yes.
9 combo racks. Oh man, you know.
No sharing, no any of that. Kabuki bars,
Oh wow.
safety squat bars, Duffalo bars, all the specialty stuff
Yeah, that's a powerlifting gym and stuff. And where you located at?
in Los Alamitos.
Los Alamitos. Okay. You want to give us the address? Or do you know it?
We'll plug it in somewhere. We'll plug it in somewhere.
That's not unusual.
Yeah.
That's not unusual because a lot of times, you know, you work out at a gym, you don't even know what the address is.
I know. I
'Cause
have
you can
no
ask
idea.
me. You can ask me.
Exactly.
You can ask me
Bloomfield?
what the
It's on
address of the gym is over there. I can tell you why. It's on this street, but I don't know the number.
16551 Bird Lane.
Well,
Huntington Beach. Pull up.
it's
Your
not a
Amazon
powerlifting
just up
gym.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So my last question.
Yeah.
Coming from cardio, Zumba, bodybuilding, powerlifting, how has this whole journey changed you as a person outside of the gym?
I think it has built my confidence in myself that I can do hard things. And I think that definitely started with bodybuilding, less with cardio, but definitely with bodybuilding. It was like, if I put my mind to something and see it through, results happen, or XYZ, and to see like what happens when you bet on yourself and take that chance for that discipline.
I like that. Bet on yourself.
Yeah, just bettering yourself every day. Just and yeah, the confidence to know that I can do hard things was like the biggest takeaway from all those, especially powerlifting. Loading up a bar and knowing like I got that, even though you've never hit it before, and it could be like foreign, but just having that unwavering sense of belief in yourself, and I think that's what it's
huge.
built in me.
That is a big one right there for sure.
And I
Self-belief.
wouldn't be here if I didn't. I think it's built the confidence to, you know, step into rooms and feel part of something, part of a community.
Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah.
So for someone who's maybe starting out in bodybuilding or powerlifting, and maybe a female, like what would you kind of give them as a piece of advice?
Start where you are and ditch your scale until you absolutely need to. If you're doing weight classes or something like that, focus where you are. Do not focus on the scale. Focus on getting stronger, whether that be in bodybuilding or powerlifting. Focus on getting stronger. I think strength is a great marker, and you chase strength and everything else kind of falls into place.
I like that.
Hell yeah.
Like chasing, like definitely ditch the scale, and just as long as you're feeling good, your muscles are getting bigger, you're getting stronger, you're running faster.
Yeah.
You're going in the right direction.
Right. Don't get too consumed with what the scale says.
Progress.
Progress.
That's what you're looking at. Progress. and
Progress.
stuff. So, Allison Stewart, it was great having you here today.
This was great.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here.
I really enjoyed the info you gave out on both ends, you know, and we know they're both sports, and they both take different styles of training. So we're not pushing one to another.
They both
No.
require a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
it's a lot of training, a lot of hard work, a lot of time in the gym, just being confident and just moving forward. It's not no sport is easy.
No.
You know, we all know that. But it was great having you on here. Definitely gonna have you again. You know,
This
when
was
you,
awesome.
Yeah.
when you go for the world record,
Absolutely.
we're gonna have you on here.
And like Allison said, you don't need an expensive belt. You just need the one from Amazon.
To the one from us. The Amazon belt.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll plug her in, socials in the description if you guys want to find her, connect with her.
Definitely,
And, yeah.
definitely, and stuff. So
I'm Coach Vic.
Yes.
this is the 3 generations of fitness.
Coach Vic.
I'm Coach Kyle,
I'm Coach Michael.
and this
And
is
I'm Allison.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye all.
All right,
Later.
take it easy. Bye.